reasonable question for you to be asking is, why do I have to learn critical thinking? Don't I just naturally learn critical thinking because I get older? Or maybe I even go to school. Maybe I even go to a fancy university. Don't I then know critical thinking? There's several things that need to be said about that scenario. In the first place, there's no evidence, let me repeat, no evidence that critical thinking is learned at a university. No evidence. It's amazing, isn't it? Because every catalog on the internet of every university says critical thinking is our primary objective. And yet, when nationally normed tests of critical thinking are used, we find that people go to school, but they don't learn critical thinking. They don't learn critical thinking because they're not taught. Now, what I just said is only partially true. People do learn in school that certain things need to be true for an argument to be one that we respect. Specifically, the argument should have evidence. Now, students are rarely taught, the exceptions are wonderful, but they're rarely taught what to do with evidence once you receive it. It's a good question, and it's a critical thinking question to say, what's the evidence? But if you don't know what to do once you hear the evidence, then it's not useful to you. In fact, you can misuse the evidence. So people do learn in school to ask that question. And they also learn to ask another question. I have the research data to demonstrate this. They know to say, I need to hear the other side. In other words, they act as if things are either true or not true. In actuality, they're probabilistically true in most instances, or probabilistically not true in most instances. Will a hurricane hit? There's no true or false, there's probability estimates. So in school, you do learn tiny bits of critical thinking. As you age, so even if you go to school, you're not encountering it in large magnitudes. And as you age, critical thinking doesn't just fall on you as your hair grows gray. There is no evidence, and again, I'm sorry to be so dramatic about this because you'd think there'd be some. There is no evidence that people, because they get old, become critical thinkers. Because they grow old, they become thinkers who tend to be satisfied with what they know, and therefore they don't have the humility necessary to learn critical thinking. So what's the point here? The point is you need to be learning critical thinking as a result of being taught, or you need to seek it out on your own. And that's what we're trying to do. Chelsea and I are writing a book that tries to get you excited about critical thinking just as we are. And you have to realize it's not going to come automatic. And if you try to live your life, if democracies try to function without critical thinking skills, they just make a mess of our history.